Welcome back, Senior 2. Today we are going to discuss our final revision. Let's start with revising our curriculum using different questions. Let's start with question number one, put true or false. And number one is a freeware is a program that you can get it for free and without any permission. What do you think? Does a freeware is considered sorry does a freeware is considered as a free program you can download it for free? Of course it's a free program. You can download any free program free of charge without any, of course, permission. Let's take this one as a copy. You will need it. Okay, question 2, web server packages are different in the operating system. Of course, each web server packages run on different operating system, such as the XAMPP program. You already use this one in your practical. The XAMPP program run on any operating system, but you have a lot of web server packages, such as the WAMP. The WAMP run on Windows operating system. The MAMP run on Mac operating system, so that's why each web server packages run on different operating system. Of course, PHP language is used to create a static web page. Of course not. The one which creates the static web page is an HTML programming language. PHP is used to create a dynamic web pages for your website. The tag body is used to show the web page content. Of course, that's the right answer. You already know this one from middle 2. To write the note or a comment or a text more than one line, we need to write slash asterisk at the end asterisk slash. Of course, to write a comment inside your code in more than one line, you need to write first the slash asterisk, then write the comment you want, then you will end with asterisk slash. Of course, this is a true statement. A web server packages include Apache server and HTML. This one is mistaken. Of course, the web server packages is an Apache server and MySQL, not an HTML, of course. HTML is a programming language used to create a static web page. An SQL refers to a hypertext markup language. It's so naive. A hypertext markup language is the HTML itself. The SQL stands for Structure Query Language. This one is also a false statement. The tag that is used to create a section in HTML page is a def tag. What do you think? Does the def tag create a section in the HTML page? What is a def tag actually function? The def tag, we use it to insert the banner inside your web page. And the banner represent, of course, a section inside your page. That's why this is a correct statement also. So it's a naive one. Each statement in PHP ends with the dot. Of course not. It ends with something called the semicolon. So this one is a false statement. Okay. Question 10. Variable and constant affected by small and capital letter. It's case sensitive. Yes, it's case sensitive. You can't write a variable with a capital letter and in the same code mention the same value with a small letter. It affected by those two, so he will consider it as a two different variables or a two different constants. That's why it's case sensitive. Don't forget this one. MAMP work with Windows operating system. Look at the first letter. The first letter is an M and the Windows start with W. So MAMP works in on Mac operating system, not on Windows operating system, so this is a wrong statement. WAMP mean Windows, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. This is the correct one, of course. This is a web server packages that run on Windows operating system. A session is a way to store information about the user to be available for use through website pages. Is it a correct one? What is a session? Like we told you before, a session is just a way to store a certain information about the user, such as username, such as password, of course, through the website. So this one is a correct statement also. XAMPP work with any operating system? Yes, XAMPP work with operating system, and the A stands for Apache, M stands for MySQL, P stands for PHP, and this P stands for Perl programming language. So this one run on any operating system, and this one is the best, I think, in my opinion, is the best web server packages you could run in your device, as long as you use, of course, different operating system. Linux means XOS, Apache, MySQL, PHP, Perl. Of course, this is not a true answer. This one should be the XAMPP web server package, so this is a wrong statement. I'm trying to trick you here. The XAMPP is a Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. Of course not. This represents X operating system. X operating system mean any operating system, and it doesn't work with Linux system only. It works with a lot old operating systems. So this one is a wrong statement. The XAMPP web server packages, of course, represent the Mac, Apache, MySQL, PHP, and work with Mac operating system. Yes, number 17 is the correct answer, of course. A web server packages are Apache, Server, and MySQL. Yes, of course, these are the web server packages. We discussed it before. The pages that contain a PHP code save with extension .php. Right. Each page you create using the programming language PHP, it take the extension .php. But if you create a page using the HTML programming language, it take the extension of .html or .htm. So this one is also the correct answer. SQL or SQL means a structured query language. Yes, what is a structured query language? A structured query language is a programming language that deal with your database inside, of course, your server. This is a very important programming language, an SQL. An HTML language used to create a static web page. Of course, this one create your static web page in your website. That's why it's also correct. Expression web application doesn't display code written in HTML language. Of course not. It display code written in HTML and code written in PHP. The program run or display both of the programming language that you will use to create your project. This one is not a correct statement. The most famous internet browser are Google and Yahoo. Of course not. Those are a search engine. This is not an internet browser. Internet browser is a program that you use to surf over the internet. This is a search engine. Those are websites for searching. So this one is also not a correct statement. You can publish the site locally of your device. Of course not. We will use the XAMPP program or the Apache server to be more specific to publish our site locally. We will not publish our site globally. Of course, we will publish it locally using the Apache server. So this one also is an incorrect statement. Question 25. After runs Apache, the computer become as a local host? Yes, it's. If you look at 24, you will know that's the correct answer. When you run the Apache server, it make your PC or convert it into a server, so it's run as a local host. So it's right. So, question 26. The first stage of create a project is designing the web page state. Of course, we talked about the stages to create your project. The first step is designing the web page. The second step is creating your database. The third step is creating the web page or actually writing the code to create those web pages. So this is the first step, of course, to create your project. This is also a true answer. 27. Header.php. This is the page, one of the pages inside your project. Show picture or banner and links to all pages of the website. Yes, of course, we already discussed this one. In this page, you would create the banner, the section, the upper section in your website that contains the logo, maybe the name of your website, and contains the links or the hyperlinks to all the pages in your site. That's a header.php page. Yes, this also is a correct one. Adultterm.php. This is one of the pages you will create, of course, in your project. Used to modify the term in database table. Of course not. It comes from delete. It delete the term from the table. So this one is, of course, incorrect statement. Each page of the site must contain an image that appears at the beginning of each page, and its static doesn't change, of course. Yes, the banner displayed in all the pages inside your website, and it's static. Fix it. It doesn't change when you go to another page. So this one is also correct. Hyperlink used to navigate through web pages. What is a hyperlink? Let's go back to our definition. The hyperlink is a text or an image. Once you click this text, it transmits you to another web page. So read it again. A hyperlink used to navigate page through web pages. Of course, it's a true statement. To avoid duplicate data entry or repeat field, you must use a database that contains only a single table? No. How could you avoid a duplication of data if you use a single table? You could avoid it, of course, if you use multiple tables, not one table. So this is not a correct statement. Field is a database contain only one person data. Do you think again for a moment? Does a field contain only one person data? I know you know the answer. Of course not. This one is a row or a record. A record in database contain only one person data. So this one is not a correct statement. When we're using MySQL, because it's freeware and open source, we use this app because it's freeware and open source. Of course, it's a freeware and open source, that's why we use it. You will not have to pay anything. A table is a question from the user to database to display data to answer this question. No, this one is a query. A query is a question from the user for the database, and you have to get the answer for this question. So this one is considered as a query, not table. Table is a main component of the database, and it consists of fields and records, or column and rows. The field that was repeated, it can be taken as a primary key? Of course not. One of the rules of the primary key, it should be given to a field that doesn't repeat it inside your database, such as the ID field. We declare a variable using the dollar sign before mentioning the name of course of the variable. Yes, that's a correct answer. Microsoft Excel used to create web pages and save it on computer. This is a naive one. This is not a true one. Expression Web used to create a web pages and save it in your computer without allowed to see the code. Of course not. You can see your code in Expression Web. It's a freeware and it's an open source, and you can run and see your pages and your code, of course. Banner is pictures that appear at the top of the web pages. Of course, we already said that banner is the upper section of your website and it should be displayed in all the web pages. This is considered as a picture, so this one is a correct statement also. You can write, an HTML code by using program like Notepad. Yes, you could use a program like Notepad Plus, Notepad, or VS Code from Visual Studio or Expression Web. You could use a lot of program to write this code. Let's continue our discussion. Question 2, complete the following sentence using, of course, the word in the opposite table in front of you. A device that has a high technical specification and control other devices by server. Called this one. What's this one called? High technical specification device that control all the PCs inside your network. Yes, I know you know the answer. This one is a hardware server. The code that the programming used to do some task or process data is called, what is this? Which one of those words fit in this statement? This is called a script. You should memorize the definition, by the way. Don't forget the image that appear at the beginning of each page called, yes, we already said this over and over. It's called the banner. It's the way to store information to be available for use through website. We said an example about this way to store the information, like the username or the password of the user. This one is called a session. The page on the internet that display data, text, numbers, images, video, tables, link, you name it, but it's for read only. Read only. Again, it's a static web page. If I mention that's an interactive page, this means it's a dynamic web pages. Row in table or in database called, come on, I know you know the answer. Row is a record and column is a field. The language that's used to create dynamic web page, now you know the answer. This programming language called a PHP. Question 8, it is a program that allows the user to open the code and edit and republish the code after modifying it. This is called an open source program. An open source program. Open source program, you can open the source code and edit and modify, and you could, of course, republish this code after modifying it. So an open source program is the right answer. To link database table successfully, you have to set a primary key field. A primary key field, of course. This one links the table inside your database, of course. So you have to set the primary key field, and you should not repeat the field. When you choose the primary key for a certain field, it shouldn't be repeated inside the table. The mail server, database server, print server, all this example, consider as something called a software server. Not a hardware server, it's a software server. Interactive, yes, and interactive pages you could interact with on the internet, which display different types of data. It's called, yes, an interactive, not static. Come on, an interactive is mean a dynamic web pages. Is a question from the user to database to display data to answer this question. I already told you this one, it's a query. Something you ask for, but you have to get an answer from your database. The main component of database and consists of row and column, or records and field. This one is a table, of course. Is the main component of your database. Without the tables related or linked to each other, you don't have actually a database. To print any information in PHP, we use a two method. You could use the word inside the code print, or you could use another word, it's called an echo. Yes, you could write print, then mention the statement or the information you want to print, or you mention echo, then the statement or the information you want to print inside your PHP code. To declare a variable in PHP, it starts with, yes, I know, you know, the $sign, and it's end with the semicolon. Of course, I don't know if you will see it. Yes, this is called a semicolon. There are two methods to send data to database on server. You have two methods. A method called a post, we already discussed it, and a method called a get. Of course, if you revise your video, you will know or see the comparison between the post and the get, used to not show an error message in case of variable is empty. Let's say, for example, you declared or announced a variable using the PHP code, but you leave the variable value an empty value. You should get an error message, of course. To avoid this error message, you should add something called the @pointer. If you add the @pointer to this variable, you will not get the error message from your code, of course. Write the PHP following tags. We will discuss each one. Add a PHP code to show this banner. This one is a very important question, by the way. Write the PHP code for the following tasks. Add PHP code to show the banner. To show, of course, the banner, you need to add a certain code. For example, this one, you start the PHP code with this sign. After this, yes, then you will write this line include, open your brackets, your double quotation, then insert header.php, and don't forget to, and each statement of PHP should be ended with a semicolon, then close the PHP tag. Yes, this code is used to add the header or show the banner inside your web pages. This one, don't forget it, you should know your code very well. Include page to connect with database. You have a famous lines, of course, to connect your pages with your database, of course. This line is include. Don't forget also to open the brackets, double quotation. Between the double quotation, you will insert connection.php. Yes, this one is used to display, or sorry, to connect with your database and web pages. This one, you should memorize this line also. This is a very important code. Write a code to be sure that the user clicks on submit button. Of course, in your website, you must have a submit button. Let's say, for example, the user didn't submit or clicked on the submit button. How could you be sure or make the user click on this one? Without clicking, you will not go or send your data into the tables of your database. So you have to make sure that he already clicked this button. So to make sure you have a famous line in PHP, of course, you will write if the if statement is set. Okay, $sign, then it represents the post. This one will post the information into the server, and it must be sure that you already clicked on the submit button. Yes, we open two brackets, so we have to close it. And don't forget, of course, the end of your line. This one will make sure that you clicked or the user clicked on the submit button. If not, he will post it, the information you enter inside your web page, of course, to the tables in database. Write a code to be sure of a picture folder exists and create it if not exist. Let's say, for example, the user forgot to create a picture folder for his project. And he forgets this step, and this is a very important step. You should write a code to make sure that the user created this folder. And if not, he will create it for you instead of you, of course. So this one is a very important line. Of course, you will use the if statement also. I'm writing the code. Yes, this line of code. If not dir a picture, if not created the folder picture, make dir or make this folder picture. This is a very important line. This is a very important tasks. This is a very important PHP commands. You should know it carefully, by the way. Let's go to our next question. Is a very important question. I'm giving you a PHP code and I'm asking you about the result. What is the result of executing each of those codes? Let's trace each code to get our result. You have to trace each line to get the exact result. Of course, you have 9 statements, 9 blocks of code. Each one you have to trace it carefully to get what is the result of executing this code and what you will get in your screen. The first one, this one, a PHP code, yes, he gave you a variable named A and assigned a value winner, so A equal winner. A statement, an if statement, a conditional statement. If the variable A equal winner. So you will print, this is an echo, a print. You will print you won the game. So in your opinion, is this condition true? Does A equal winner? Yes, A equal winner. So what is the result? It's an easy one. The result is you won the game. Yes. Let's find out number two. We will make it a little bit different. We will use not the if then statement, we will use the if then else. In this statement, you have two codes. One will be executed if the condition is true. One will be executed if the condition is false. So let's start find out, does the condition is true or not true. This we will find out by tracing the code. You have a PHP code, a variable a equal 5. So the statement if then else, if variable a equal 2, you will print the number is 2. If not, that's an else, you will print unknown number. So is variable a equal 2? Of course not. Variable a equal 5, so he will not execute this one. He will execute only this one. Yes, an unknown number. So this one is your result. The result of this code, unknown number, sorry. Question 3. True or false? This one represents a true or false. This is of course an operator. You will find it in a logical operator. You will find it in your booklet, mention it in each statement. True and an exclamation mark. What is this mark? This mark represents not. So what is not true? Not true equal a false. It's a naive one, but you should understand what is this mark meant. Not true equal false. You have another code, but with the if then else. He gave you a variable a equal second. Then a logical statement, if a equal first, you will print you are the first. If not, you will print you are the second. Does variable a equal first? No. So you will print you are the second. That's your result. Question 6. A variable a equal 2. This is a switch case conditional. A switch case could handle many exceptions, could handle many value. Why? Because it's only depend on the value of your variable. So, a conditional switch case only depend on the value of your variable, of course. So, in the switch case in case the variable a equal 1, in case the variable a equal 2, in case the variable a equal 3, you will print 1 or 2 or 3. So what is your opinion? Yes, the result is 1 or 2 or 3 because the variable a equal 2. Okay, let's find out this one. The variable x equal 9. If x variable x less than 0, you will echo a negative number. Is it less than 0? No. So this code will not be executed. Let's highlight this one to know this is not our answer. Okay. Else if variable x greater than 0, he will print a positive number. Does it a greater than 0? Yes. So what is the result? Our result is a positive number. False and true. A false and true equal false. Let's find out. This one is very important example using the switch case, but we will handle more than one condition. When I highlight the echo, this means I will not execute this code, okay? X, variable x equal 9. We will switch with the value of the variable x. In case variable x equal 1, you will print 1. Is x equal 1? No. So you will not execute this code. Is x equal 2? No, x is equal 9. So you will not execute this code also. Is x equal 3? No, it's equal 9. So you will not execute this code also. The default case means either none of those value. In case you have any value except those, you will print none of the above. So this one is your answer. This one is the correct answer. Yes, this one is the correct answer. This code will be executed. So the result is none of the above. Let's write our result. Yes, exactly. Question 5, choose the correct answer. The program that you can get it for free without a permission. Which one of those is a program that it's for free and you can get it for without a permission? Of course, it's a freeware. A program that allows the user to open the code, modify, republish, and republish the code, of course, after modifying it. Which one of those is considered as a correct answer? Of course, it's an open source. A page of information on the internet display various type. So far, we don't know which page he is talking about. Various type of data with some effects on browser page. Oh, come on. With some effects. But he didn't mention that it is for an interactive page. So this one is considered as a static web page. Page of information on the internet display various type. It's still the same. Various type of data. But that can be processed, that can process some of their content or display message or result. This one is a little interactive. You can process something, you can display a result, you can display a message. So this one is considered as, yes, of course, a dynamic web pages. You can write the code of not leave the user field empty through which one? A JavaScript, an HTML, or an ASP run at server. Which one of those represent the correct answer? Of course, not leaving. This one not on server, it's run at client, of course. You can run it at client. You can write the code of username and password to be sure it's correct يبقى أكيد through ASP run at server. This one you will have to run a script over the server to check, of course, the username and the password through your server. So this one run at server. The script code can be written in many languages. The popular one is, which one of those considered as a scripting code? Yes, PHP is one of the famous scripting code, but it have to be run at server, not a client. Server is refers to the computer that has high technical information or specification from the user from the rest of the network devices, of course. Server refers to maybe the device that store, print, control and manage the rest of network. This is a correct answer. Computer device that store web pages. Yes, store web pages is called a web page server. Computer device that store email to the company called an email server. This one is considered as a mail server, of course. An HTML coding language used to in the creation of the static web page is create the static web page, not the dynamic. The web page with extension PHP refers to the executing code on a server, of course. If you have a PHP code or a PHP web page with the extension .php, the code will be run at server only. A company creating their own site and publish only for employees is considered as what? Which one is the proper answer? Yes, it's considered as a local host. Of course, don't forget this is a very important. So let's go on the next question. Question 6 is mention what is a type of server. You have two types of server. You have a hardware server. We already defined this one. You have a software server. And the software server consists of many parts, like a web server, like a print server, like a mail server, and a database server. So in software server you have four types: a web server, print server, mail server, or database server. Mention what is an HTML stands for. The HTML stands for a hypertext markup language. Again, a hypertext markup language. One of the programming language is used to create a database. This is a very important one. What is the PHP? This abbreviation stands for. It stands for a personal home page. Yes, personal home page. Mention what is the SQL stands for. We already said this one. It stands for structure query language. Again, mention what is Apache server used for. It's used for to convert your PC to server, where you can translate PHP code and test the web pages, of course, locally. Again, let's write it down. It's used to convert, of course, your PC into server. And where you can translate can translate PHP code, of course, to test your web page locally. So it converts your PC into a server, and you can translate PHP code to test your web pages locally, of course. Mention what is a type of database or relationship, of course. You have one-to-one, one-to-many, and many-to-many. This is a very important relation, one-to-one. You have one-to-many. You have many-to-many. So this is three type of relationship inside database. Mention what is a script. Define the script. It's a code written in one of the programming language used to do a certain task or process data. Of course, you have many programming language that we use it for a script, so we will write down it's a code written, of course, in one of the programming language. Sorry. To do some task, of course, or you could process data through this code task. So it's a code written in one of the programming language to do some task or process data. Don't forget this one. A client-side server and a server-side. Compare between a client-side language and server-side language and mention an example for each. Okay, a client-side language such as the VB script or JavaScript. This is an example for them. And this code executed in run at client. Let me give you a small example. Not leave the user name field empty. This one represents an example for the client side. A server side like the PHP or the ASP.NET. It's executed inside run at server. You have to run or execute this code over the server. What is the example for this one? Let's say, for example, when you insert your username or password in Facebook website. And when you click on the sign in, he has to check if the username and password matches the one found in database server. This is considered as the example for the server-side language. What is a session? Of course, it's a way to store information about the user, such as username and password. This was our final question. Please study hard. If you have any question, feel free to ask at any time. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.